Hello, good evening and welcome back. Jess Phillips is back with a statement: society has just accepted dead women. Now, I'd be careful about statements like this if I were you, Jess, because we're just coming out of a national lockdown following a scare of a virus. So if you're saying we just accept dead women because, there are risks and they're unavoidable, then it seems to suggest that you want those risks avoided. What is the apparent response? Well, as we've just seen from a brilliant case study, it is to say, just lock everybody indoors. And surely then that would help you out as well, that you just isolate everybody from everybody else, solitary confinement, and then you're not going to have people abusing, attacking, or killing other people. So, fantastic. But I think this lends to a broader point, which is that as nice as it is to think that the government is there to protect you, it can't. And also, even if it could, should it? Where does it stop? But let's go on to the real point of the matter, which is gross misrepresenting of facts. So, of course, this comes on the back of Sarah Everard, who's gone missing and presumed dead now, with one of the police officers brought in for questioning as well, after having gone to hospital after being held in custody because of a head injury. I wonder how that happened. Bear in mind, this is somebody who is accused. They haven't actually been sentenced yet. They're not actually convicted. But Jess, firebrand of politics, what's she got to say for herself? Well, Labour Shadow Domestic Violence Minister Jess Phillips has said society has just accepted dead women as one of those things. She read out the names of 118 women and girls killed in the UK this year, while a man has been charged or convicted as the primary perpetrator in an International Women's Day debate. Yes, because, of course, you can't actually read out lists in the chamber. It's normally prohibited. But because women are so oppressed, they've got special privilege. As Deputy Speaker Dame Eleanor Lang said, she was suspending a 3-minute time limit on speeches to enable this tradition to go ahead. It's a new tradition, but it is now a tradition. But that's just how bad women are oppressed, that in politics there's a special privilege. But okay, right. 118 women and girls killed in the past year. Cool. Let's look at homicide. How about that? According to the ONS. Okay, cool. So we've got, compared with the previous 10 years, there was a relatively high prevalence in the latest year, as in up to March 2020, with 506 male victims, which were 73%, and just over a quarter, 27%, were female. So why are you focusing on the 27%? If we've forgotten about them. I'm thinking not, Jess. I'm really not. You're trying to say, it's such a common occurrence and it's overlooked. Well, would you like to explain why you're looking at such a minority there? Would you not like to actually keep a facade at least that you're going for equality? But no, okay. Because as we read on, it's not just Jess Phillips getting in on this. Oh no, of course not. Because we've got Rosie Duffield saying, it's impossible not to be overcome as those names echo around the chamber. I suppose just suspending a 3-minute limit would be a bit much to try and read out 500 names. But SNP Deputy Leader at Westminster Kirsten Oswald told how she feels walking alone in the dark. I will not change my behaviour, but do feel scared sometimes, she said. I do strongly recommend you change your behaviour. If you're feeling scared about it, that you're going to be attacked. You could change your behaviour so that you're avoiding risk, so that it's then at a manageable level for you, or, of course, develop your own skill set in order to diminish risk because you're able to take care of yourselves. She says, I cross the road, I have my keys in my hand, I think about where the streetlights are, where the dark alleys are. I'm aware and vigilant because, like all women, I have to be. Yes, because as far as stranger violence is concerned, which is what we're talking about here then, compared from women and men, again, as women must clearly outweigh men. Well, no. Again, according to the ONS, stranger violence actually showed the largest difference in victimization between men and women, with 1.2% of men and 0.4% of women. Again, triple. 3 times more likely as a man to be a victim of stranger violence than a woman. Would you like to run that one by me again, please? Perhaps explain it a little more. Overall, for the population, 2% of men compared with 1.3% of women to be victims of violent crime. care to explain that at all? No, it's domestic violence. I think that's what we're going to pivot to now, to go with domestic abuse. Okay, cool. And they have got the government's domestic abuse bill, as councils in England will get an extra £6 million to provide support and safe accommodation for abuse survivors and their families, and the additional money comes on top of a £10 million emergency fund given to councils to help domestic abuse survivors during the pandemic. The total domestic abuse bill is £125 million, but okay, and that's saying because 2/3 of domestic violence victims are women. Right, well, we can go to mankind as well, because why not? So you've got 2.5% of men and 4.8% of women were victims of partner abuse in 2018-2019, equating to a ratio of two female victims to every one male victim. Yeah, a third male. Okay, so majority female. Right, fair enough. More support. Why not? However, it gets into a bit of a grey area, with men are nearly 3 times less likely to tell anyone than a female victim. 49% of men compared to 19% of women, which has worsened when chances of telling someone were 61% for men and 88% for women. So, of course, if you balance them out, you've gone back to equal. Women are more likely to use weapons in domestic abuse as well, as they're the weaker sex. Right, so you might be thinking, shelters, right, more female shelters, yes, okay, it shouldn't be equal. Well, you'll be pleased to know that it's not equal, as there are 37 organisations in the UK with 204 spaces, with only 40 of those places dedicated for men. Many parts of the UK, like London, have no spaces for men at all. And 2017-2018, I think it was 21,000 male victims, no spaces. The entirety of London dedicated for men, some male and female, and in London about I think 15 or so female only. So yeah, they can do it. There's just of course no push to do it. So okay, fine, but how about this then? Men are mainly the perpetrators, as Women's Aid says. It's a gendered crime. Yes, because the majority of victims are female, it must be men that are the bad guys. So if it was just female relationships, you'd be fine. Yeah. Except not. Actually, between straight, gay, bi, and lesbians have the most abusive relationships. Female on female is the most violent. That doesn't quite work either. If you include transgenders, then they win. Not a battle that you wish to win, but yes. As domestic abuse, domestic violence, as we say, about 2.5% men, 4.8% women. Lesbians are more into 20%, and some estimates for transgender go as high as 88%, which is stupendous, but nonetheless, what the statistics bear out. But, of course, as this is more of a recent phenomenon, there isn't a lot of research being done into the topic as of yet, with statistics not being readily available. But as far as lesbian relationships are concerned, yeah, 20%. That seems substantially worse. So what could it actually be? I think at this point, all the points have been rebuked, refuted, debunked, except, yes, more female than male victims of domestic abuse, and the makeup of shelters and the like also do reflect that. The main issue that I have here actually is not the gross misrepresentation. That isn't an issue for me. The main one is pretending that somebody else is going to solve your problems, and it might be your problem and you're a victim of it, and that's not your fault, in which case that is very unfortunate. But if you're waiting on somebody else to help you out, it's not going to happen. It's really not. And so you can complain that the government isn't doing enough, but then maybe understand that the government simply can't do enough, and instead it's down to you to actually help out. As instead of solving the problem themselves, they've got vigils highlighting women's safety are being organised following the disappearance of Sarah Everard. More than 200 women have signed an open letter to the government calling for a firm commitment to tackle male violence. What are they supposed to do? Do you then wish to look at who the most violent males are? Or does that then go into your BAME issue too much? With the old 1350 debate? Is that then going to be a problem? What is it exactly that they intend to be done? There isn't fucking anything. What's the point then? For any offence where it's a male perpetrator, they get a longer prison sentence? Because that already happens. Or what is it? Just to follow the example of London, to say that male victims don't get any dedicated support? Is that it? So not take out the perpetrators, but just make the victims suffer more? Is that the idea? Or what else could it be then? Just get rid of males by encouraging hormone blockers and transgender surgery for younger children. But we've already gone through the statistics of how those relationships end up. So, please, give me a solution. There's one from International Men's Day, actually, and their sponsor, Dads for Kids, suggesting that maybe having a positive male role model in a child's life is a good thing, and trying to support the nuclear family and the family unit, and having both parents there to raise their children will mean that they end up in a better place. Maybe that's something to be looking into, but of course we can't have that because that's suggesting that men might have a positive influence. So I ask again, what precisely is it that they want done? What is it? As Harriet Harman is saying, something has to change, and it cannot be women, the victim in this, to be responsible for leading that charge. Why not? Why not? Please, this is something I do not understand. You're in a difficult position, and you have no control over anybody else but yourself. So make those changes in yourself. And yeah, sure, it sucks, but wouldn't you rather be the victor, not a victim? Wouldn't you rather have the responsibility for your own life and know that if something good happens, then you're the one that made it happen, instead of having everything else done for you? And then who are you going to turn to? And what if those people turn against you? No, you've got to be able to rely on yourself. So yeah, please comment down below. Actually, do tell me, what is an actual tangible demand in order to make this change? Is it just to say another sweeping lockdown? Is it just to bloody remove the mask completely and say, okay, so we know that law courts already favour women, whether that be more lenient prison sentencing, if any prison sentencing at all, whether that be alimony or divorce courts, or believing the accuser instead of the accused, giving the benefit of the doubt, if you will. Other than all those things, which are already enshrined in law, what other privileges and special rights do they want to provide to women until they finally decide, oh yeah, we're equal, because of how skewed their mentality is? Is that it? Is that literally the answer? Just to say, increase prison sentences for men, but at the same time, because it's intersectionality, don't arrest black men for it, only white men. And then, seeing as the problem won't be solved doing that, you just have to arrest even more white men until there aren't any left. Then the problem's solved. And then, of course, you got lesbian violence, but at that point, men will be gone, so let's not worry about it. We just got to keep banging our virtue signaling drum at this point. Yeah, let me know down below. Always intrigued to hear what you guys have to say. But that's it from me. So until next time, as always, have a good one.